grab yourself a sharp knife, some 9-inch masking paper, or 12-inch, or just don't use newspaper. And we're going to mask for the final painting. Now, masking is just as important as painting in all preparation, because if I mask wrong right here and it leaks underneath, it'll be very hard to take it off. If I mask too close to these edges right here, then the gray will be covered and it won't be covered like I want it to be covered. If all else fails, when you're masking off an opening like this, have about, I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch, or if you see the width of this blade, the end of the blade I cannot see in the light reflecting my eyes, but if you look right here, how thick, you see how thick that blade is right there? You want to leave about that much of a gap between your painted surface and what you want to protect. It's better to have a little bit of paint on the very, very edges where you can't see it, rather than get too close and accidentally cover up this line. And then when you go to take the masking off, you've got some gray in there. That's logical. Doesn't that make sense? So I'm going to mask that. Masking, what I can say about masking is keep it as clean as possible. Keep it as wrinkle-free as possible, because after you go to mask, remember, you're in a paint shop. Other guys are painting their rigs. There's primer all over the place, and the primer dust is all over the place. It gets into everything. I mean, think about going home and taking a shower every night from, the body shop. You got talcum powder all over you. When you go to spray the car, when you want to do your final blow off, then you want to have your masking tight, but not a lot of creases, rips, tears. You just want to keep it neat, because that'll give you a less chance of having any foreign contamination in the paint. Let me give you one more tip here before I go see about this other dog. I don't know what it is with dogs in this neighborhood. If you've ever painted before and you've noticed that you get lint, pieces of dust, crap, all kinds of strange things in your paint, even though you've cleaned it off really well, which leads me to another thing. When we do a car, okay, right before we paint it, and we've already got it blown off, we use our Sure-Wheel cleaner or wax and grease remover. We remove everything. That's fine. Then, after we get it into the paint booth and shut the doors, we take our tack cloth, which is basically, what it is a very, very fine cheesecloth. It's really fine. Okay, it's finer than that sandpaper right there. It has a very, very light coat of beeswax on it, and it has a webbing in it just like this. And what that beeswax and the webbing do is you wad it up into a ball, and you got to be real careful, because if you press too hard, you can get it to stick into the paint. No, I mean the surface. You don't. And what we do is we lightly go all along the areas to get off any little kind of lint or contamination that may be on the surface. So you say, well, I've already blown it off. I've used the wax and grease remover. Why would you have to use a tack cloth? Well, that's a good question. Thanks for asking, Randy. You're so cool. Thanks, Garth. When you go to spray primer or paint, the paint is electrically charged, either negative or positive. Now, it's just, I don't know why, it's just the way it is. Okay? Just say it's positive charge, where the body of your car is negative charged in the real world. When you spray your paint on or your primer on, it attracts dust like a magnet. And that's what you don't want. That is just one factor of painting. That's why a lot of guys, it's called static electricity. Now, a lot of guys don't do this, but some do. They can use an anti-stat, that's what it's called. It's a liquid stuff you can put in the paint. Now, that's just one thing you can use. I don't see anyone using a lot of it, but you can use it if you want to keep your item as clean as possible. What it does is it decharges the positive negative aspect of the paint, car, motorcycle, whatever dynamic, and causes the lint and things not to stick to your paint job. Another thing painters do is what they'll do is they'll take their car and they will take a piece of wire, speaker wire, and they will ground the car to the frame of the paint booth. So it's grounded. This helps with lint. There's also a couple other things, a couple other tricks.